increasing maintenance and operations from 15 to 25% and making a report back to council.
Councilmember, it would be on the, if you would amend the main item when we get to 42A, that would be the appropriate
42A, thank you.
time to do that.
That's what we had listed as.
Yes, sir. I think, Councilmembers, I'll give you a moment to look at maybe, these are all, again, these are exactly the amendments made by council members with the first column being line items. So line item 1 and 2 are similar to each other. First one is from Councilmember Bradford. It's slightly broader, so we listed it first. But the chair recognizes, for reason to proceed, the chair recognizes Councilmember Bradford to discuss his amendment.
Thank you, Councilman. Let's roll into it because I've seen what I would characterize as less than nuanced commentary and plain written dicta about my amendment. And what my amendment does is simply provides additional dollars from 2 funding sources other than the general fund. This particular amendment would allocate monies, if need be, from 2 funding sources. One would be the unused general obligation fund balance. Those are simply bond dollars that may be left over. And they may be bond dollars from public safety bond referendum, it may be library, maybe parks, etc. I'll talk more about that later. If dollars are left in that particular account, leftover bond dollars, or the dedicated drainage street renewal fund. I want, for the record, read my entire amendment because we have that, and the clock is going tick-tock, it's going to run out on me. But I need to go to a particular proviso in my amendment to deal with the commentary and some of the dicta that's been espoused about my amendment. Specifically, if you go to the, I'm counting on the right column, the 4th line, the sentence begins with, each of the 11 district council members shall be allocated an equal amount of the $6 million to be utilized by district council members based on neighborhood needs and constituents' input in determining what money from this specific allocation, and let the record show, would be spent based on projects, would be spent on projects as permitted by voter authorized category. That simply means that we're not breaching anything if we spend money as authorized by the voters. If the voters passed bond money and it was for library and money's left over, it has to be spent on library. Public safety has to be spent on public safety. Parks or parks, etc. Violate nothing. Also, as permitted by state law. That's in the amendment. And look at the next one. Also permitted by the city charter. And if I'm not mistaken, Rebuild Houston is part of the city's charter. So if Rebuild Houston proviso is part of the city's charter and Bradford's amendment is saying as permitted by city charter, Bradford's not violating Rebuild Houston proviso at all because it's part of the charter. City ordinances, as permitted by city ordinances, as permitted by contractual obligations. And look at that last proviso. For those who have the nuanced commentaries and the written dicta out there, as approved by the mayor. So here we are, we have several provisos in here to make sure that this money doesn't breach any provisos of Rebuild Houston, the charter, the law, or anything. It's all covered here. So it is not at all going to violate a Rebuild Houston proviso. It doesn't breach any promise, and it's not political. It's not that. Also, read into the amendment from an interpretation standpoint, you don't have to transfer these monies from one pot to another pot. I don't care where the money sits, the money can stay where it is today. Let's not transfer the money to any place. Let it stay wherever it is and let the council members, per the provisos in the amendment, identify projects that goes up to this particular amount. So there's nothing political about this at all. It's still very objective. It doesn't violate state law, ordinances, the charter, contractual obligations at all. This proudly enforces what Rebuild Houston brought about. It indicates you cannot breach provisos of the charter. And I don't think Mayor Parker would approve something of breaching the charter. Well, not as it relates to Rebuild Houston, right, Mayor? Because this is something that Mayor Parker purported and sought out, pushed through. Rebuild Houston. So having said that, I wanted to get the record straight because I've gotten those phone calls where people didn't read it or they didn't want to understand what I was trying to do here. So I'm going to ask us to approve this amendment. This is part 2 of what we did in the general fund. Thank you, Mayor, for your support on that. This is part 2 to bring a total to $1 million for district council members to follow the law, follow Rebuild Houston, follow all of that, and service issues in their district. One more proviso. At the very end, it states sidewalks, streets, and drainage issues. I thank you and yield.
Councilmember, the administration concurs. This is a completely legal motion, and it could be implemented. The only issue is whether there is, in fact, whether there will be any money left over from unallocated bond funds for the 2013 program. There may or may not be, but the interpretation of your motion would be that then it would come entirely out of DDSRF rather than those bond dollars.
Affirmative.
Sorry. Councilmember Castillo.
Well, it's good to see I riled up my council member.
You didn't do it.
Council member and council members. The reason why I'm opposed to this has to do with, and it has nothing to do with what's written in the amendment. The amendment is self-explanatory. It says that we're going to follow all rules, laws, and regulations. But here's what's happening out in the community. And what's happening out in the community is that we have Rebuild Houston that is still in litigation. We have plenty of people out there that do not trust municipal government. We have plenty of people out there who believe that this program, Rebuild Houston, we're using it to pay overhead, and we're not doing what we need to be doing. This program needs to be out of the political arena, and it needs to be self-supporting through analytical approach, where all council members have an input into how the program is being implemented. We need to leave this program as is. And so let's talk about the program and what it has benefited. In just 3 years, we've lowered our debt by $125 million. In just 3 years, we added $75 million in capital improvements. And if you go back and look at the CIP in 2011, the projects that you're getting today, tomorrow, and next year would not have been funded. So I caution you about approving this and drawing the money from the DDSRF fund. I don't care where else you get the money from, and I understand that the district council members have needs, and I understand the community has needs. But some of those needs are maintenance-related needs that are outside the CIP document. And if we can encourage Public Works to help us understand how they're spending their maintenance dollars, with maybe a presentation to Chairman Green's committee on how they prioritize and how much money we're spending in each district on those maintenance dollars, I think that would be a better approach. So I'm not going to support this program, but that is my position.
Did you yield for 30 seconds of time?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. You started by saying that you were not responding to my amendment.
I said I'm not supporting your amendment.
I thought you said you were not responding to the amendment.
No, I'm not supporting your amendment.
Okay, thank you.
I'm responding to the use of the DDSRF monies.
Thank you, Councilman.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Thank you, sir. And Councilwoman Costello, I appreciate your words, especially the words that say, if we encourage public works, that's the question. We can't, that's the statement, we cannot encourage public works. I've been here for 2.5 years. I've seen you down in Rebuild Houston. I've seen Councilman Clinton down in Rebuild Houston, Councilman Green down in Rebuild Houston, Councilman Boykins at Rebuild Houston. And our amendments today are based on the inability to encourage public works. Not just one amendment, but there are multiple amendments today that we're going to address. So, again, to also concur with Councilman Bradford, Councilman, there are 3 facts I want to state. The DDSRF is a lockbox per charter and contract. The DDSRF has 4 sources of funding, which can only be expended for items authorized by charter or contract. Fact 2, the DDSRF holds deposits other than funds earmarked for drainage projects. Fact 3, the City of Houston CIP process manual with the stormwater evaluation tool, also known as SWEET model, of pre-engineering and cost-benefit analysis, scoring therefore capital projects will continue to exist. However, it's important to to note that not all projects expended from the DDSRF go through the prioritization model. Maintenance items, sidewalk projects, traffic signalization projects, etc., are primarily based on calls for service. Given the facts listed above the amendment before you today, it is clear that there is nothing in the amendment that violates the terms of the charter, nor does this amendment direct any funds from the DDSRF to be utilized for purposes not authorized by law or contract. I understand what people are saying, but I believe that the citizens expect us to have their input and use it. This is a tool that was created before I arrived on council, but I believe in my 2.5 years I've heard the voices of my constituents, and no disrespect to Public Works, they have a arduous task in making our streets better and our drainage better. There's some things that they overlook that we get the phone calls on. And that's why we're here bringing forth this amendment, as Councilmember Bradford said, the second part of the amendment, because we want to answer the call, or some of the calls that our constituents let us know about. And that's it. I understand, and I believe this will enhance the brand of Rebuild Houston. We have an opportunity, people drive by those signs every day that that Public Works put up. They don't see that. They don't see that. I mean, they see it, but they ignore it. They become immune to it. I mean, they just drive by. But this is an opportunity through our super neighborhoods, our civic clubs, through our churches, and we get the information out. When they ask us to do something, we're going to try to get it done in a short amount of time while we're here. And they would say, well, you know what? Our council members are working for us. Our mayor is working for us. They're out there getting things done that we've asked. And so I plan to come up with my own little District B CIP by bringing all my areas come together so we can talk about what's going on in the area. And we want to figure out, does it fall under the DDSRF category, this category, and then we begin to prioritize the things that we need done in District B. That's all this is about. This is not about, whatever, I guess, the nuances, and I forgot the other word. I'm like Councilmember Kubach on that one. Bifurcate, I got to understand that. But it's simple, and I respect the voices of the engineers, and I respect the voices of Public Works, but this is something that, again, this is why we're voted in to be here, to try to make these decisions based upon the wants and needs of the people. Thank you.
Councilmember Davis, may I ask you a procedural